Hello, my football friends. This is Darin Hayes of pigskindispatch.com. Welcome once again to the Pigpen, your portal to positive football history, and welcome to our second part of our season opener, our preseason predictions with our friend Ed Kleese. Ed, welcome back to the Pigpen.
Hey, Darin, how are you?
I am doing great, Ed. We are fresh off of our last recording last week of recording the AFC teams and how we thought, in our own macabre way of predicting how they would come out. And I'll let you lay the groundwork out in case somebody missed the AFC version. You can always go back after this episode and watch it. And why don't you tell them about what we're doing?
Yeah, pretty simple. It's a twist on NFL power rankings, and we're incorporating the draft, which we always love to do. So it's really simple. It's an easy back and forth between you and me. There's 16 teams in the NFC. We're going to pick them in order of how we think they will finish in the regular season. So your first pick is the team that you think will have the most overall regular season wins, and your last pick would be the one that you think is going to struggle the most. We're not really incorporating how they do in the playoffs or anything beyond that. We're just looking for wins, which is kind of how you base power rankings kind of throughout the season. It's just who do you think is the best, not necessarily who do you think is going to come out on top. So it has nothing to do with last year or where they finished. You can pick whoever you want in whatever order you want.
All right. Well, it sounds good. And we're going to try to throw a little bit of history behind our fact finding here to keep our theme of football history going as well. And if I remember correctly, you picked first in the AFC. Right?
Correct.
So it'll be my selection first. So if we're ready to go, we can get right at it.
Hammer it.
All right. I have I'm going to take the chalk again, just like I did in the AFC. And this is seems to be the popular pick for everybody's taken, maybe to be the champions of the NFL, and for good reason. That's the Los Angeles Rams. Sean McVay has a great team that he had coming back from last year, and he's added some really important pieces. Number one being Myles Garrett. Number two might be the return of Aaron Donald. And they also on defense went out and got Trent McDuffie, one of the premier cornerbacks of it. So that was, if there was any weak spot in the Rams last year, it was probably defensively, and possibly they may have cured a lot of that up just by those three individuals I talked right there, and some good draft picks and some stuff they had going on there. Offensively, you have Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, the whole team coming back basically from last year. Very potent offense, very strong defense. I think they will be the number one seed in the NFC.
Yeah, and I kind of poked around to see if I could come up with a cute number one, but I kept landing on the Rams as well. They would have been my first pick too. Sometimes you get these super teams that come in a little overhyped, but I just feel that they're so solid, and they haven't really changed. They're not adding a lot to what obviously worked last year. But what you're adding is, Myles Garrett and Trent McDuffie, two top-notch defensive players. And now for me, the Rams also boast, I think, at least 5 players: Stafford, Devontae Adams, Puka, Myles Garrett, and maybe Aaron Donald. I'm going to include Aaron Donald because I think he's coming back. Those 5 players are either locks for Canton or having Canton careers. And then McDuffie, that's probably a stretch for him to say that's the track he's on, but he's kind of a star corner as well. So you've just got these super high-level, all-time great players playing at this great level with an incredible coach, balanced on both sides. Stuff happens in the NFL. Injuries, things don't go the way you want. You just never know. But I think this team is as rock solid as it gets, and I think it's a good pick, number one.
Yeah, and I think the history sort of commands that maybe they'll be pretty good too. There's been some failures when teams go out. I mean, I know your team in Washington went out and got some of the great players like in the 90s and or late 90s and didn't work out so well. But recently, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers bringing Tom Brady and Gronkowski on their team took them to a Super Bowl championship, just put them right over the edge by having those 2 players on there. I think this Rams team may be similar to Tampa Bay just a few years ago.
I totally agree.
All right. So who do you have as your pick?
So Darin, this is kind of interesting because really after the Rams, I struggled a little bit. I'm pretty confident. I like my top 3 in the NFC, and I'm confident in my bottom 2. everywhere in between, I'm like, man, you could flip a coin here. I actually have my number 2 and my number 3 teams did not make the playoffs last year, and I have a number 14 team that did. So that kind of tells you where I'm at. My number 2 pick is the Detroit Lions. I think we're going to have a really solid bounce back. I mean, really bounce back. I mean, they went 9-8 last year, so it's not like they were terrible. There's a lot of reasons. I think offensively, they are still uber talented. They've got everything going on. There's a ton of continuity there. One thing that I like to point out is their first 3 home games are the Saints, the Jets, and the Cardinals. And they have a road game with the Panthers mixed in as well. So in other words, they play Buffalo as well in the first 5. So their first 5 games are about as easy on paper as it kind of gets. And so I kind of think they're going to get off to a good start. They're going to get off to a hot start. Sometimes when you start hot, it gives you some margin for error. I think they're just a good team. Another thing I want to point out is the Lions right now have had 4 straight winning seasons. Any idea the last time the Detroit Lions had 4 straight winning seasons?
Oh, I'd probably have to say back in the 1950s, maybe, when they were winning championships.
Exactly. From 1951 through 1954, they had 4 straight winning seasons.
Jeez.
It hasn't happened again until we're in the midst of it right now. And I think they're going to make it 5 this year by winning 11 or more games.
All right. Well, I agree with you. I think Detroit is going to be – I have them in my top 4, but I have a team that we'll be talking about next that I think may be a little bit of a roadblock to them getting the number 2 spot. Okay. But I agree with you. They are loaded. Jahmyr Gibbs is now a happy camper, having a pocket full of money. The offensive line, hopefully they've got some of those situations straightened up to keep Goff upright, and I think they're ready to go.
I think they're right back on the horse, and we're going to be seeing them as the NFC North champs this year.
Well, that's where I disagree with you, because my next team I'm going to bring up is the Chicago Bears. Right. I have them coming in as a number 2 spot on my list because I think they're the real deal. They were a little bit young last year. They had a first-year coach. I think he's got his feet under him. I think he's got, Caleb Williams and the gang, on the same page. They understand, what his plan is, what his goal is, and his strategy. And I think they're going to be working a lot more in unison. He's bringing some more of his people on instead of the inherited Bears that he got just a little over a year ago. And I think they're the real deal. And I think Caleb Williams is going to be a much better quarterback this year, now having a full year under Ben Johnson's guidance to get them there. And so I have them winning the NFC North and being the number 2 spot. Okay, well, let's put again, reminding of the caveat that I had that kind of like my 4 through 14 teams were very close. But I had the Bears 8th. And I had them much farther down the list as sort of more of a borderline playoff team battling for a wild card this year. We talked last year a lot about how we thought the 2025 Bears were very similar to the 2024 Commanders in a lot of ways. And we kind of know what happened to the Commanders the next year. So I don't think the Bears are going to go quite that far down as the Commanders did, unless the Bears have the same level of injuries that Washington did. But, last year I looked at you go back and look at the Bears schedule from last year. They played what I would have called 9 different coin toss games, either games that they probably should have lost or games that went right down to the wire. Could have gone either way. They went 7-2 in those games, and then they lost the NFC Championship game. That was another one. So their luck kind of ran out. And I don't mean that in a necessarily a disparaging way, because good teams find ways to win. But if you're rolling the dice that often, there is sort of also a law of averages. And if you remember, Darin, some of those wins, like the playoff win against the Packers, these are like miraculous, like once in a 10-year kind of wins, like crazy plays and wild comebacks. And that's very hard to sustain. And I guess you could say, well, maybe they don't have to sustain it if they've gotten better. And maybe they have, maybe they haven't. They're already dealing with some injuries
which kind of sometimes happens just naturally. Luther Burden's already been out. They've lost a really important defensive back for pretty much the season already. They got the target on their backs. It's the shine wears off a little bit. It's always a little bit different when you're trying to do it again. So I don't think the Bears fall apart. I think they're middle of the pack.
Okay, fair enough. ESPN does say that the Bears have the hardest schedule in the NFL coming up this year. So maybe you have some good merit to that. But I don't know. I think there's a little bit of magic there, and that's why I'm taking them right now.
Got it. Well, my next pick is very painful for me to announce. I don't like saying it out loud, but I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys as my second pick here and the fourth pick overall. I have them as the number 3 team going in this year. It really boils down to this. You can, until Dak, comes through in the postseason, he will have that, monkey on his back. He'll have that kind of following him. But the fact is this: he's 83-55-1 as a starter in the regular season. In other words, when Dak plays, Dallas is good. They win about 60% of their games when he plays. And Darin, they win 75% of their games in the NFC East when he starts. That is off the charts good. He has given the other teams in the NFC East a ton of trouble. He's, by all accounts, he's healthy. He's ready to go. Pickens and Lamb are arguably probably number 2, maybe behind Nakua and Adams as a wide receiver duo in the NFL. Maybe Higgins and Chase is, in Cincinnati. They're right there. They're very good. Javonte Williams is a good back. They've improved their O-line. They've made some pretty significant improvements, at least talent-wise, on defense to maybe go from bad to, league average. And if Dallas has a league average defense, that's probably a 10 to 12 win team. And that's exactly what I think they will be. Not really saying much about what might happen in the postseason, but in terms of how they're going to be this year, I think Dallas is going to be good, really solid.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have them winning the East as well. I don't have them ranked as high in our power rankings as you do, but I think that bringing Rashawn Gary over from the Packers to go with Quentin Williams on that defensive line, that really plugs up a big gap and hole because people were just gashing them last year, and that secondary was just getting worn out by getting run over. Now they can maybe even get a little bit of pressure on the quarterbacks, help the secondary out, and that offense explosive as they come, as you said.
Yep. I hate to say it. I hope I'm wrong.
We're going to cut it short here with these first 4 picks for the video version, but if you want to hear the full podcast talk that we had with Ed Kleese on this NFC predictions for all 16 teams, join us on the podcast versions at your favorite podcast provider, pigskindispatch.com, titled NFC Predictions, Unveiling the Best Teams for the Upcoming Season. And starting in September, join Ed Kleese here every week as we talk about some great football history here on YouTube channel from the week prior or maybe the year prior, and we'll have some great predictions on the podcast version. Think you know your football history? It's time to put your pads on with the Pigskin Trivia Drive. Choose your play, go for a run, short pass, or risk it all with a long pass. Answer fast to rack up the yardage, and reach the yellow line for a first down and earn an audible to wipe away those wrong answers. But watch out, that play clock has got you. We got 25 seconds before the penalty hits. Score as many touchdowns as you can in 5 minutes and claim your spot on the global leaderboard. Pigskin Trivia Drive, where your football IQ is the MVP. Play now at pigskindispatch.com. That's all the football history we have today, folks. Join us back tomorrow for more of your football history. We invite you to check out our website, pigskindispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskindispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. Special thanks to the talents of Mike and Gene Monroe, as well as Jason Neff for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.